Good morning. I'm Leah McGowan here, and welcome to the first of weekly conversations that we'll be hosting as part of our Leading Through Change series. A chance for you to hear tips and resources from business leaders who, like all of us, are doing their best to get through this COVID-19 pandemic. Before I turn it over to today's host, our Chief Marketing Officer, Stephanie Buscemi, I wanted to preview the next hour. Stephanie will be interviewing Soledad O'Brien, the award-winning journalist and CEO of Soledad O'Brien Productions. If you have questions for Soledad and Stephanie, please submit them in the Q&A section in your screen, and we'll try to get to as many as possible later in the show. If you're watching on Twitter, please use the hashtag #LeadingThroughChange. Now, after Soledad, we have a special musical performance by 9-time Grammy Award winner Sheryl Crow. Now, first, a call to action, a very worthy organization helping a lot of people at this time. By texting MEALS, MEALS, to 80100, you can donate $10 to the World Central Kitchen, Jose Andres' organization that is providing meals to people who need it the most during this COVID-19 crisis. We'll match up to $200,000. Again, text MEALS to 80100 to help. Now, over to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Leah. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. It's a difficult time, and we're here today to help connect all of you together and learn from each other. Our hearts go out to everyone affected, directly and indirectly. It's our gratitude to all the people on the front lines right now, keeping the community safe and healthy. And this is a top priority for us at Salesforce, a top priority to help flatten the curve. This includes asking our employees from around the world to work from home as well, and converting many of our virtual events, like we're doing here today, live events into virtual events. We have a responsibility to give back to one another and to look out for one another at the local, national, and global levels. We're doing that here at Salesforce. We're continuing to pay our hourly employees, our service providers and contractors in all of our locations. We've donated $3 million to UCSF's COVID-19 Response Fund, the CDC Foundation, and the Give to SF Fund. And we're currently matching all employee donations, including to organizations like UNICEF, Direct Relief, Save the Children, and Give to Asia. We're contributing medical masks to healthcare systems around the world. And we're also making some of our technology available for free to help our customers and partners navigate through the crisis. Salesforce Care. It's a set of free rapid response solutions to help companies stay connected to their employees, their customers, and their partners during the COVID-19 crisis. Our customers, too, are doing many amazing things out there to support in this crisis. And I'd love to just give a shout out to one or two. Deluxe, an over 100-year-old brand, a longtime check printer and vendor to 5 million small businesses, may become a disbursement source for government stimulus checks being issued to COVID-19. The United Way launched a recovery and relief fund to help those in need and partnered with us to offer philanthropy cloud free of charge so that companies can engage their workforces and bring people together. And Thrive Global has partnered with Harvard and CAA to raise donations that will go to providing essential supplies and equipment for first-time responders. I want to thank all of our customers out there who are doing things to help one another during this time. We want to make sure that we're helping one another through this time and that we can enable everyone out there to try to continue to manage their businesses to the best of their ability. That's why we've created Leading Through Change. This is why we're all here together today. Leading Through Change is a new content series for all business people of companies of all sizes, from small business leaders to large enterprises and everyone in between. Our goals are simple: We want to provide thought leadership tips and resources from Salesforce and from our community to help business leaders manage through crisis. And we want to create a forum for all of you, a community, and a place that we can have a conversation on how we're dealing with this situation. You can find all of this content on salesforce.com. It will be a one-stop shop for you to be able to access information. I also welcome you to get in touch with me at cmo@salesforce.com and let me know what you're grappling with. What questions do you have? What ideas do you have so that we can use this platform to communicate and share these ideas with one another? As part of Leading Through Change, we're going to host regular interviews with industry leaders starting today with the topic of how do you create content that helps to inspire and educate during a time of uncertainty. With that, I'd like to welcome our guest, Soledad O'Brien. As Leah shared, she's an award-winning journalist and she is a small business owner herself. So with that, welcome, Soledad.
Thank you. Thanks. It's so nice to be here. Yeah, and scary times, I think, for lots of folks in small businesses. Every morning feels like, what's going to come down the pike today? But all those things you talked about, both on the philanthropic side, but also on just the helping businesses side, it's so helpful to have major organizations sort of say, we have advice, we have content, we have information, and we can help. So we certainly appreciate it.
That's great. You know, you've had such an accomplished career in the news, and so many of us are staring at the news, whether it's on our phone or on our TV or our iPad. We're really plugged into the news right now because we all want to stay informed, but yet it can be so mentally draining. How do you find that balance there in terms of going through all of that news there, and how do you deal with that personally? I mean, you've been through so many amazing global events, Hurricane Katrina, 9/11. You're in the epicenter of all of that news coming in. How do you personally deal with that?
I think it's an extension of my strategy for dealing with coronavirus as a whole, right? Which is step one, you actually have to take care of yourself and your people around you. And so the answer is, and I say this as a news person, so it kind of kills me to say, if you are watching news 23 hours a day, you need to stop. It's just not healthy, right? And so one of the first things we did, and I'm a Virgo, so we like lists and we like checking things off, was really I have 4 kids and a husband, and getting everybody on a plan, on a routine. You know, our day is not going to be a free for all. Our day is going to have some kind of a shape. And I think putting a structure into that where you say, yeah, my news consumption is going to be a piece of that, but it's going to be a piece and it runs from this to this. This is when I get to sit down and do it. That's been really helpful. So not just for the news piece of it and the gathering of information, but just getting everybody into a routine. And now we're a couple of weeks in. So I think most people have really come up with what's the routine, what's the strategy, what's the plan. For my boys, who are my youngest, they're 15, they got to write their own schedule. And the schedule can't be sleep in all day and eat, to food and then get on their phones. It actually had to have some kind of shape. And for me, we start our day with our company meeting where everybody talks about where they are, what they're wearing. Most everybody's in sweatpants from the bottom down. And also give a tour of, here's my office space. This is what I'm working from. This is what I see out my window, as a way to kind of like get to know what everybody's going through, where they are and what they're experiencing. And I think the same with news. I block off a chunk of time where I'm happy to be on Twitter, and I love Twitter, but too much is coming across the transom right now. And then I make sure I'm just really engaging with the people that I like to follow, that I want to have productive conversations with. And then in terms of watching the news, there are shows that I watch and information that I get. And that's it. I really limit it. And I think kind of being very strict about that has been the most helpful. And making sure that you're watching a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with coronavirus. I'm not sure. I love Criminal Minds, which is basically about serial killers, fictionalized. So that might not be a good thing to watch if you're anxious, but really finding a thing that's just engaging you, but in a different way, I think is really the best kind of step one advice.
I love the structure, and I can speak personally. Week one, there was no structure, and it was a bit chaotic. And you're right. I think many of us, a couple weeks in now, are figuring out what is that new normal. What does our day to day look like? What's our new routine? Coffee's still in the plan, but some things around it have changed. A question for you specific to the news. You know, there's misinformation, there's fake news, and that can be really dangerous at this time for people, especially, people feel vulnerable, they're anxious. How can leaders make sure they are consuming and sharing the most accurate information? It feels like now more than ever, we've got to get it right in the way that we're communicating with our customers and our citizens and the community at large.
We're in a public health crisis. So I think I always go back to the people, the experts, and they're so good, and often they're not elevated and heard from. In a public health crisis, your local public health department generally is going to be the best place to go. Of course, that's all connected with the CDC. So you end up getting really good data points. I want to know new cases. I want to know people who've died, what those numbers are, because we know we can track deaths is a really important thing. I want to understand how the coronavirus is moving across the country, what areas are hotspots. Currently, we're shooting a documentary in Seattle about the coronavirus, and I'm dealing with my teams there while we're also sort of watching it from a distance, and it focuses on public health. And so I think there's actually a lot of really amazing resources. I think anybody who you're following who's doing a lot of politicizing this conversation, it will only serve to make you anxious. I mean, I like data and information, but if it's going to be a lot of like, oh my God, and then it just isn't for me worth having my kids watch it and me watching that. I just don't prefer to watch that. I want to know, where are we? Is it getting worse or getting better? What is happening in Italy? What is happening in Spain? What are those data points? And there's tons of that information that exists all on public health sites. So it's actually pretty easy to get. And also, great journalism is being done. The New York Times is doing a fantastic job in covering lots of the stories around the coronavirus. Some of their stuff that's first person, I think, can be very difficult to read. So again, I think you just have to really kind of, parcel out and parse through what you actually want to bring in. It's like any experience. You owe it to the people around you to make sure, you create your environment. Someone said that to me when I started as CEO of my company. They're like, your job is an environment. You create an environment. If you're home and you have kids, you have an environment and you're responsible for that. And if you want it to be chaotic and unhappy and stressful and scary, then yeah, keep everything rolling and all the time and lots of information. But if you want it to be, we have a structure, we're going to deal with real information and real facts, even bad news. We're going to deal with it because it'll be real. Then I think you're far ahead in terms of being able to lead, whether it's leading a bunch of 12-year-olds or leading an entire team. It's not a good news, bad news. It's reality, factual information. And how do we then take that in and strategize about how to deal with it?
I really like that in terms of stick with the subject matter experts, because we do have so much information coming at us from so many different channels out there. And I think sometimes the waters get muddied and, you're getting medical advice from a fashion publication versus sticking with a doctor. And I don't mean that as any criticism. But
No, but I'm laughing because I'm laughing because you're not exaggerating. I always think of sort of social media as the New York City subway, which no one should be riding right now, which is, right, you might sit down next to somebody and say, what's the best restaurant I should go to? And you may get an amazing recommendation of the best meal of your life. But you also might be sitting next to somebody who you don't know, who is nothing, who does not have the same values and information as you, and you might get the absolute worst recommendation. You just don't know. And so you really do have to kind of say, like, going through social media is kind of like random person on the subway. Could it work out? Might. Could it not? Likely. And really stick to the people who add value. And there's a ton of them. And listen, Dr. Fauci, I think right now everyone in the country would say he really does a great job in leading. He has got tons of great information. I personally he's probably the first person I interviewed when I started working in TV news in the 1980s, because at that time we were talking about HIV. And I've always liked that he doesn't mince words and he's very straightforward. And that's what you want. You want the source that's going to give it to you and give it to you straight.
Love that. Credible source and give it to you direct and be clear about it. One of the things right now I wanted to ask you, we have a lot of our customers on the line. They're thinking about the most effective ways to communicate with their customers. Given that everyone is consuming so much content right now from their homes, do you have some guidance to us? What types of content can companies and businesses of all size provide? What do you think are the most effective channels and ways for people to be connecting right now?
Listen, I think we've seen for a long time that video is the way to go. Months and months and months ago on Twitter, anything that didn't have sort of video or visual, you were just going to lose people. And I think that's now kind of the metaphor with a phone conversation versus a video conversation. I think people have to really think about how they're communicating, and it has to be face to face in the way we're doing it.
Right.
Number one. We have found weirdly in a production company that deals with creating content that as much as a lot of our projects have been just ended, right? No one knows what they're doing, so things have stopped. It's also an interesting time for opportunity. People are trying to figure out what's the new way. How do we think about shooting things that don't require you to be next to somebody? What is going to be the opportunity that comes out of this? Shouldn't everybody have a little home studio at home so you could be having these kinds of conversations, not just during the coronavirus pandemic, but also afterwards? So I think it's always got to be face to face, I guess I'll call it, and in a way being able to have an outline of what you're going to cover. These kinds of calls can't just be free for alls. They actually have to stick to a strategy and an actual conversation. So I don't know. I've always been nauseatingly optimistic, and I see many opportunities, weirdly, from just a technology standpoint, as horrible as all of this is, that will come out of how people will think about how they communicate once we are through what is obviously shaping up to be a really, really terrible public health disaster. But it will, one of the big challenges, right, is in adopting. Everybody now, we all have our PhDs in Zoom calls. And from every child is on Zoom if they're working from school, doing schoolwork. I think people now have adopted that. They figured it out. I have a ring light and a chair set up in a little studio in my bedroom. That's probably going to stay in some capacity. Right now, Jimmy Kimmel's coming back with new content. Samantha Bee's been shooting new content. Right, all the shows, after kind of taking a couple of weeks to figure it out, have come up with systems of, okay, sure, maybe I have to have my 10-year-old hold up the light, but we're going to be able to create content in creative ways because we got to get that show back on the air. And that show has to go back on the air because you actually need to keep everybody working, right? For our company, I need all my employees to work. We're going to keep everybody working because what nobody needs in a pandemic is to lose their source of cash. They need to be able to work. And so that's the kind of things that we're thinking about, how to keep our company going, come up with creative solutions to how do you tell a story when you can't sit next to somebody? Well, guess what? The quality of the video is great and people can shoot themselves now. That kind of opens up a whole lot of new pathways.
So you've mentioned a couple times in terms of running your business, and we have a lot of small business owners joining in here today. As a small business owner, like you said, you've got to keep everyone working here. What are some of the ways that you're taking care of your staff, your team, even maybe your production assistant son, but literally in terms of ways that you're caring for your employees, how are you engaging with them differently, having to do this in this virtual environment?
Every disaster I've covered, the tsunami, Hurricane Katrina, Haiti earthquake, right? It's opportunities where you see leaders emerge, where they're just tests. They're tests, and some people fail. And a lot of people, and not always the people you think would be the people who emerge as leaders. Sometimes you're always like, wow, I'm surprised that's the person. I remember in Katrina, the sheriff in Katrina said that to me. He said, all the people who I thought would be like, they're going to stick it out. They were okay. But the people who were amazing were the ones that I would not have thought of as my leadership team. And I think that happens a lot in chaos and a lot in crisis. And so I think that is an opportunity to think about, okay, who's doing well and who's not? How do you support those people who are stressed, and everybody has their moment in a different way? How do you continually communicate with your team so you can figure out who's having a hard time and who's doing well? And how do you lead? How do you think about, okay, if our goal is to pay everybody, what does the strategy have to be? How are we thinking about our budget? Are we thinking about putting everybody on the line so that we don't have to lay anybody off? I think it's really about giving people a chance to lead in a crisis. We have a young woman who runs my foundation. She's our accountant, and she has done so well. She's our bookkeeper, not even our accountant. She's our bookkeeper, and her leadership. When we're through this, she will be the executive director of this foundation. Although she would have told you she's not trained, this is not what she does, but she has done such an amazing job in handling all. We send young women to and through college. So a lot of these girls have left school, don't have housing, don't have food because it all came through their college, don't know what to do. And she alone, single-handedly, has handled this. And if you had asked me 6 months ago, like, who's the one who's going to rise up and just run this foundation forward, I don't know that I would have picked her. And she's done, and every day I tell her, I am just so amazed and impressed by you, because some people pick up the baton and run. And I think this is a really great time to see which of your employees really are the ones who are there in a crisis, and not everybody can do it. So I think, one, just emotionally, you have to take care of people. You have to tell them that you're going to help them, feed them, house them. I have mailed toilet paper to people. I don't know why the toilet paper is running out. But you know what? If it's making you nervous that you don't have toilet paper, I have 4 kids, so we always have stocks and stocks of toilet paper. I can ship toilet paper. How do you make people feel comfortable? But often I think for people in the workplace, they want a chance to lead. Even in a pandemic, they want a chance to lead. And giving people a chance to run something is quite a big vote of confidence, and you need them. So it works both ways.
That's awesome. You are so right. I mean, I can give countless examples here at Salesforce, seeing people just be their very best self right now, rise to the occasion and do things that they thought maybe they couldn't do, and not only do them, but do them amazingly well. So it's really great to see people just step up in crisis, and to your point, be able to give your team the direction so they're clear about what you want to get accomplished, and then they can plug in on that. Having been through so many seismic events in your career and looking at the current crisis, can you talk about any pitfalls or things that you've seen in the past that our leaders and the businesses on the line here should avoid when creating content and communicating at this time? Any of the gotchas or mistakes you've seen looking at the past?
Yeah, and some of it I think is, we all know this. There's a time when you should not be talking to people, right? When your best friend is like, girl, put down the phone. Don't do it. Don't send that note. Don't. And I think when you're really stressed, it's a time to say, this is not, if I'm not feeling 100%. And I think all of us go through that day where we're just at our lowest, like today is just not the day kind of thing. You need to make sure that you're not communicating that, because I feel like, my company is very small. We have 11 employees, but if I'm freaked out, for many of our employees, they're the sole wage earner in their family. So if they see me freaked out, then all I've done is translate to them. There's something to freak out about. And so I try to make sure that I'm giving everybody the factual information. Anyone can call me at any time. But also, if I'm not really feeling up to at that moment to have a conversation, or I don't have enough information, or I'm just mad, or I'm stressed about something, you really just have to think about how you're communicating. And I think the mistakes that I've seen have been people not thinking fully through what they were trying to say. Just that they've made errors in communicating. I think we've seen at the beginning of this response, people would talk, leaders, political leaders especially, would talk about the things. Everybody needs to stay home. But then what they would do is not, right? I mean, and it just, people watch what you do, right? They watch whether you're talking about leadership in any way or your values. People watch, what are you doing? You can't say, don't go to the gym and then go to the gym. You can't say, I want to support this, but not. So for us, it's been really, really important that every single thing we say we're going to do, we're going to do, from little things. The meeting starts at 10. I'm a TV person, right? Because the minute things slide, it's an indication that we're not on top of it. And people get paid on time. And, every single thing we're doing has to run smoothly. So where I've seen mistakes, and Hurricane Katrina was terrible about this, right? When you had the governor sort of telling everybody, now's the time to pray. I'm a big prayer person. I fully 100% support prayer. Anybody out there who's watching who wants to pray for me and my family, thank you, thank you, thank you. I need a governor to show leadership. That's prayer plus. What else are we doing? And you saw that a lot, that people who were watching were like, the strategy's praying? Okay.
Right.
I was thinking some political strategy too. And then the things started going off the rails. So I think it's just really important. I don't think her team at the time, the governor was a Governor Blanco at the time. I don't think the team really thought through what, when someone said, okay, people are going to ask you, what are you doing? What are you going to say? And that goes for any leadership at all. What's your strategy? What's your plan? And how do you roll it out?
I really like that in terms of the first point you made, which, not to put words in your mouth, but don't be reactive, be proactive about things. And, if you're in a bad spot, in a bad headspace, don't communicate at that time. Take the time to make sure you really thought it through and are clear on what you want to say. And I loved your second point too, walk the walk. We hear a lot of people talking about things and ideas and setting vision, but then to your point, their actions don't line up behind that. And that compromises their trust and credibility with their community. So I think it's really powerful what you're saying there. I wanted to ask you a question about what you kind of think the future will look like when we go back to business as usual. Will it be the same, do you think? The pendulum has swung from live events and a lot of face-to-face in-person to shelter in place. Everything is digital right now. Do you think it'll go back to the way it was before, or do you think there'll be something in between?
I was going to say, you said it's gone from live events, and I was going to say to de-nice, right, on Instagram. So I don't think it's this, thing that was amazing to this horrible thing. I think it's gone from this thing that was amazing to this thing that was amazing, but in a different way. Right? The de-nice thing was awesome. And it was like, wow, this is real community that you got to watch unfold in front of you and feel like I'm in a chat room. I'm having a party. My family is holding a party on April 2nd. I got an invitation, and we're just all going to get together for a Zoom party, cocktails, And so I do think things are going to change, because I could see that bringing my family together more consistently, as opposed to every second year when we do the family reunion. Like, why are we not having once a month? Everybody makes a cocktail, someone comes up with the recipe, and we all share it and just gab for half an hour. Like, oh, that's a really good idea. So I think we're going to think differently about what community means and how we get together in these spaces. And it's not just, oh, so-and-so's joining us remotely. They're over there. They're kind of listening in. They're not missing it fully. But I think you're going to be able to integrate people in a way that they feel like they're really part of it. There's no question more people are going to work from home because we now have all these early and enthusiastic adopters of things that I think people wouldn't have adopted if they weren't forced to. So I think we're going to see much more ability to work at home. And again, I have a studio set up here. I'm sure we're going to make that a real studio at some point when you let people back into your house, so that if we had to, for whatever reason, you could actually do real work from home in some capacity, as opposed to something jerry-rigged in my bedroom. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to change. I think just the way we communicate, and And I think, we're really careful right now with our employees. It's a scary time. So we start our morning meeting, just everyone, again, going around and talking about how they're feeling and how they're doing and what they made last night. I was utterly abused because I fed people chicken nuggets, which I was like, you all know I don't cook. I have an air fryer and I put chicken nuggets in it. But it's just a way to connect. And I think we're going to try to keep doing that. Normally our meetings are we start at 10, everybody gets in. I feel like I know people's families now, and we need to take care of each other. We need to take care of each other. I have 11 people that I've got to keep working. So I need to take care of them so they can take care of their kids and they can take care of their families. I think that will change in a positive way.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you for leading through change here. You've always been an inspirational leader, and it's been fun to watch you over the decades in your work and your success. I know we have many folks joining us here who would love to be able to ask a couple questions. I'm going to hand back to Leah, and we're just going to open up for our Q&A and answer a few questions.
Sure. Now, before I get to the Q&A, Soledad, I knew I saw you at that D-Nice party.
Was that not the greatest thing ever?
Oh my goodness. Did you go to the Questlove after party too?
I did not. But when Michelle Obama joined, I was like, that was the greatest thing ever. It was so great. And I'm so glad for him because it came out of course, right, that he has no gigs. He has no gigs.
Right.
And I just love that he's like, I have no gigs. And this has opened up a door for him to so many gigs once all of this is over, which is, it's just such a wonderful thing to think, like the fact that he did this, he now has so many people who are going to hire him for gigs. I'm so excited for this to come back to him.
Yeah, I got on Instagram just to be a part of it. It was amazing. But yeah, the innovation coming from all of this is just amazing how you see people, as you said, create opportunity from crisis. It's pretty awesome. So our first question we have is from Kabat via chat with Stephanie. How do we balance reaching out to support and dig deeper into the needs of the client without seeming as a pressure for new sales? We are an IT telecom company that cares and want to help.
I think it's a great question. I mean, Salesforce is no exception. We're having to answer that question ourselves right now. And I think at the end of the day, it gets back to understanding the surroundings, being conscious of the situation that is happening right here, right now. I would say being relevant and being helpful is the best thing that you can do right now. And if you don't have something that can truly help your customer right now in this time, let them know that you're there for them, but take a step back. I think it's about knowing. We have looked at all of our product offerings. We're reaching out to customers to figure out what are the things that can help them most right now, communicating, running their businesses through this time. Some things are more helpful than others, and those are the things that we're prioritizing and getting into our customers' hands right now. But I just think it's being hypersensitive that right now, the context that surrounds us, it's not the right time to talk about everything with your customer. Understand that their time is precious, and that this is what's top of mind. So again, being relevant and figuring out what can help them today, tomorrow, and the next day, right now.
Awesome. Our next question is from Patty via chat for Stephanie or Soledad. What are some of the best in-class strategies that companies have been incorporating in dealing with COVID-19? Too much communication, not enough communication?
I would say regular communication. I mean, there's a reason why TV shows, like right now, we have our show, Matter of Fact, is still on the air. We've been shooting it from my bedroom. But there's a reason you slot them and they have a format, right? Because everybody needs to know this is how it's going to start. This is going to be what's in the middle, and this is what's at the end. I think what scares people is chaos. And in a chaotic situation, to also have leadership chaos is terrifying. What you need is chaotic situation, but here's what we're doing. We have an update on this. It covers this and this and this. And, and then again at 2:00, we have another phone call. We cover this and this and this. And then anybody who needs a call that can be offline, can happen over here. I've always appreciated when people have sent me notes that say, how can I be of service? What can I do for you? That to me is anybody who comes to me that way, I love them and embrace them, because it means they're willing to do anything and everything, and I can rely on them if I need them. So I would just say structure.
Great. From Anna via chat for Stephanie, do you have recommendations for how B2B marketers serving small businesses can better communicate with them?
As a B2B marketer myself, right now it's about understanding speed matters with small businesses. A lot of large enterprises out there right now will be able to carry themselves, their finances, everything for the months. Small businesses, likely not. So when you're communicating with them right now, again, I think it's time to value. It's being able to help them in ways that get them through this month and next month and the following month. And if you don't have something in your offering that can really help them right now, either continue their growth, keep their business running, take care of their employees, I would say step out of the way.
Like that. All right, next question from Marissa via chat. How do you appropriately leverage your company's employees to support during these times, to support the brand, to support customers, and eventually sales?
Soledad.
Listen, I just think of the people who've reached out to me. One, I'm all about small businesses. So when a small business says, hey guys, here's where we are, here's what we need, I appreciate it. And I also like, again, what people ask me, what do you need? Soledad, what do you need from us? We can send you this, this, and this. We are your lighting company. So if you need this, we can then not only ship it to you, I can have my guy get on the phone and help you set up your own lighting, because we know no one can come into your house, and we can show you how to cable it, and we can be, the kind of assistance that normally I would never get. My team would do that. But now I've got somebody who's happy to walk me through. And I look at that as, wow, some guy spent his Saturday on the phone helping me set up my home studio, which is so not his job, as my job is so not setting up a studio. But here we are, because it's crazy crisis times. That's the extra step that I think Stephanie's talking about, right? That's an extra service where I didn't get the sense he's trying to sell me a light. I reached out to him. He's not trying to sell me a lighting kit, but he's trying to provide the service that I need. And I think you again have this opportunity when you help people in a moment of crisis and need. They don't just like you, they love you, they appreciate you, they value you, and you have a relationship. You have a relationship because you've gone kind of above and beyond. And I think at that same moment, if you're trying to just sell something to somebody, it's a weird time and it's not particularly helpful and it's not solving a problem. I think it's also a relationship, but in the bad way. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I think all companies out there right now need to really check themselves and make sure that nobody's being opportunistic in the situation, because that's not going to make for an enduring customer relationship for the long term. People will feel that, you're not being thoughtful, or you're trying to capitalize on them in this crisis, which is appalling to think about that anyone would do that. But we've seen examples of that. And I think companies should be really reflect on their intention when they are reaching out to their customer. What is their intention? I also think there's a real opportunity for creativity. We all have our individual roles in our company, but I've been amazed to see people who are product managers who build product, and engineers are actually helping companies work in their call centers, volunteering hours to our customers to be in a call center setting to help with that via our service solution. So it's amazing. People are doing different things. They're walking out and stepping away from what they typically do in their role and trying their hand at different things. And I think customers appreciate that. They see that it's all hands on deck and you're there trying to help them where they need the help.
I think also there's a tremendous amount of expertise that's in these big company, even our small company, right? Where sort of what you're saying, Stephanie, people who, sure, they have a job of this, but they also have expertise over here. And I have found it so helpful when someone will say, you know what has worked for me while I'm trying to do online learning with the kids, or maybe the thing to do with your friends who have kids around the 6, 7, 8-year-old age who just need 30 minutes of a break with here's a strategy. We now have a chain of people who read books to friends who've got little kids, right? So that mom can go shower for half an hour, just like, and you put the kid in front of a FaceTime and someone that sits down and reads a book. Like, there's so many ways in which I've seen people kind of leverage the thing that they can do, or the number of people who've been homeschooling, like really homeschooling their kids, saying, I've been homeschooling my kids for 10 years. Here's some expertise in how you homeschool your kids. I mean, I find that so amazing. And so I agree. I think leveraging that's what builds a relationship, right? That doesn't feel like a sales relationship, but feels like a relationship. We have, what are the teams that you have? What's their expertise in? What can they do? I sort of love it because Jose Andres, who we always talk about, he goes into a community and says, who here can cook? Well, everybody can cook. Some of us badly, some of us well.
Not everyone, but.
And he literally sort of says, like, I need everybody because we're going to cook. And if you can cook and you want to cook, come here and help. And all of a sudden, everyone's put to work, although their job might not be cooking, chef for the moment in some capacity, even if it's, folding sandwiches, putting sandwiches together. And I've always loved that he's able to leverage people to do the thing that they can do. And I think that's a really amazing message. What's the expertise that you can bring?
I love that. I'm enjoying one employee who has started a morning art class that everyone's kids can join in. And I had no idea this employee was such a great painter and now teaching other kids. And it also allows for a level of human connectedness. We're getting to see one another's children and engage with employees and their families in totally different ways. I want to thank you so much, Soledad, for joining us today. It's such a privilege to get any time with you. Keep leading. We appreciate everything you do. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Hopefully you feel a little bit more educated and thoughts and ideas about how to communicate better with your customers. And hopefully Sheryl has filled your heart with inspiration. She's such a joy. And with that, I want to hand back to Leah McGowan-Hare. Leah, over to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Wow, that was amazing. Such great conversation, great music, just great food for the soul. I know I'm leaving very full and might even take a plate to go. That was awesome. I want to thank you all for joining us today. And if you didn't get your questions answered earlier, you can reach out to Stephanie at cmo@salesforce.com. Now, as a reminder, please text MEALS, MEALS, to 80100 to donate $10 to World Central Kitchen to provide meals to those who need it the most in this time of crisis. Now, we'll be back on Tuesday of next week with our next event in this Leading Through Change series. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.